What's up, and welcome to the Boys of Fall Week 11. 11-11. Make a wish, baby. Not quite, though. Week 11 college football. Super excited for it. We are live at 10 a.m. instead of Friday night. I would like to say maybe we're being strategic, but really I just had to go get some sushi. I had to get a little gummy bear martini. It's called, at my favorite joint. As some freedom of being able to walk finally. But Ty, happy week 11. How are we feeling at 10 a.m. this morning?
Let me tell you something. I smell completely different at 10 a.m., okay? The way I smell at 10 a.m. versus the way I do at 8:30. I mean, I smell and feel. Ty, gonna be on bullshit today. Yep, I am. Yep, you know it. But I smell and I feel like $1 million this morning. You know, you wake up, you shower, you get the cologne on. I mean, I've got cologne on. There's nobody even around. I smell and I feel like $1 million. The bookies are in trouble. JX, you're 100% right. The get back is going to be strong. It's been a rough week. Oh, God. It's been a rough week. The weekday games, I don't know if anybody else feels this way that just bets on them. They're hard.
This year, terrible, honestly.
Dude, the weekday games are so hard.
Yeah,
they've
been bad. They've been bad.
But yeah,
that's
I
for
smell
sure.
and I feel like $1 million today, which is just a fantastic feeling going into noon kickoff.
Well, yeah, and I was gonna say, I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious. I don't have a hat on today. Yeah, we're doing we're going at different times. So sometimes you gotta do things a little different to spark some interest. I was wearing a Randy Moss jersey for the longest time, and then they lost, and then I changed it up to a Harrison Smith jersey, and then defense came through for us, and I got to ride Harrison Smith for a little bit. But let's go ahead and let's get it pulled up here. First off, though, just like with some of these guys will pulling up. If you guys are in the chat, let us know. Say hi. If you're on X, Twitter, we can see that as well. So not a terrible week if you break it down. So let's talk about mine real fast. So I went 3-2. Memphis lost outright, if I'm not mistaken. Ty, I seen you were on Memphis yesterday. I was like, oh, doggy, like that's scary. Memphis, I don't know what the heck their problem is. It worked out for you though. Navy minus 10.5. Navy's sat in a visitor's locker room for a 5-hour rain delay, near record time rain delay. I think anybody was going to come out flat.
Well, not even that, right? They would come out and then another rain delay would kick in.
Yeah, right. So like it just real weird to be honest. Miami, man, me and Ty were just talking about Miami actually right before this started. And Miami, looking terrible. Somehow they covered against Duke. Crazy. Oregon looked fantastic. Washington won outright as well. Ty's got some red over there, but it really does make up for it because he's got 3 outright dog wins. So if you were kind of playing units or whatever, certainly would be looking good. But Ty, you want to talk about how the week went for you last week?
Yeah, I mean, Army came out flat. Just was completely different than what I expected. Kansas State, I think we just barely missed that one. Pitt, I mean, it was just bad. It was a bloodbath, as you can see here. And then Penn State, just atrocious stuff. You run it,
turnover, crazy.
Yeah, and then you run the ball 3 times down there, on the 1-yard line. Don't get in. But I made up for it. I ended up profitable on the day because of the dogs. That's why I throw those in there. And, of course, the Discord made a ton of money with the live total. So even though I was at the Penn State game at halftime, I walked out of my seats, made sure that I got myself some because there was 111,000 people there. There's no service. So I had to walk out, get 111,030 people. Big record. But anyways, and then I was able to toss out a few lives, and then I was driving home, and the Passenger Princess live team totals were flowing as my wife was driving. I had my big cup of water just sipping and cracking live team totals. So let's go.
I can see it, just like the TikToks where the guys make fun of their women.
Yeah, exactly.
Super funny. All right. This. Oops. Let me go. Oops. All right. So anyhow, if you are new, first off, if you're watching on Twitter, retweet this bad boy. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like it, make sure you subscribe, make sure you do all that stuff for me. Shout out to people that are in the Discord in the comments. If you guys are in the Discord, go ahead and just say hi. I'd like to hear from you guys. You know, we've got a whole slew of sportsmen going on. I'm up almost 12 units now in the month of November. We hit a nice plus 900 yesterday. If you're not following along, we are on step 4 of the 10K challenge. Feels different. Feels like we got a nice strategy going, looking to potentially have a play out at noon today. Waiting to see on some injury news. Really curious if Haynes King is going to play. Make sure you guys are paying attention to your injury news, as that is what got us last week with Army. Bryson Daly randomly out. On Twitter, it's like unabated or something like that. Unabated college football, and they tweet out throughout, and then it's awesome. Like, they're just Lagway for Florida is warming up, but likely can't go against Texas. You normally don't see that stuff. A nice little site there for you, so that's fantastic. Zachary, I was going to click on it here from the Discord. Got your boy Joe in the chat, Ty. All right, Ty. If what else? Oh, I guess I didn't get to it though. If you guys are interested in Discord, check out the links in the description. There's a month, there's a 2-week. If you're interested in checking it out on a little discounted rate, you can use all caps JORT, JORT, get you 25% off on the 2-week or the month. If you're wanting to get all the plays, every ounce of the plays, all those live plays. These are just our best bets. I actually put out a parlay of my 4 favorites. But which 4 is it? You don't know unless you're in the Discord. So, Ty, you want to kick us off while I pull my?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course I want to kick us off. There's nothing else I'd rather do. So fire up the F-16s, fire up the Warthogs. We got to fly over today, boys, because let me tell you something. It is Veterans Week, all right? This is your salute to service. It would not be a Boys of Fall if I did not kick this off with the midshipmen absolutely kicking the shit out of USF. All right, let me tell you something. Navy is going to do whatever they want to the South Florida team. USF gives up 149 rush yards per game. 149. All right. What is Navy really, really good at? Running the football. USF has been atrocious against the ground game. So what are they going to do? They're going to stack the box, and as soon as that happens, guess what we're getting? We're getting a beautiful Blake Horvath dot over the middle. I don't think he should be, the Heisman anymore. I don't think he's the Jim Thorpe of college football. They have not looked good the last 2 weeks, but this is a perfect get-right spot against a team that is really, really bad against the run. We're going to go Navy, team total over 30.5. That's one of the salute to service plays of the day for Veterans Week. You know the deal.
You know the deal. Definitely due to get on track. Navy definitely due to get on track.
Yeah, 100%.
Way too good to go out the way they've been doing.
Yep.
All right, so I am going to go with. I got 2 noon o'clock games. We're gonna go with Syracuse plus 1.5 here. If you like some extra money, go ahead and just take the money line. I mean, it's the same thing realistically. You don't see a lot of 1 point. Wins and losses in college football. Normally it's going to be a couple more at least. For whatever reason, I've been really high on the Syracuse team. Been a weird team though. At times they look amazing, and Kyle McCord's throwing for 4 touchdowns and 400 yards. And then there's times where they're losing 41-13 to Pitt. They were down against Virginia Tech. And I remember in the group chat, I sent a text. We got a college football group chat. And I was like, so Syracuse is bad, I guess, right? Question mark. And then I move on, and you look later and they're actually leading and they end up winning or something like that. Hopefully I got my internet bar popping up. I got all the kids streaming stuff to keep them quiet. So hopefully I'm not too laggy here for you guys. But right. Boston College, was on a losing streak. They've given out 32 points per game throughout that time frame. Just super high on McCord. A great passing team. This really is at a 1.5. It's really a pick 'em at this spot. And I don't think Boston College brings enough of a home field advantage to want to be afraid of it. And when you get to the point, I'd rather take the team that can, go down the field in 3 plays than, the Boston College team that's got an offense that hasn't been that fantastic or whatever. So we're gonna go Syracuse plus 1.5 as my first official play over. So the road dog, taking a road dog this Saturday.
That's one of my dogs that are barking this morning. You know, you
Oh.
let them out. You're like, what's going on out there? The dog's barking. Is somebody walking out in front of the house? You don't know. Nope. It's just Syracuse barking. I mean, yeah. No, not Syracuse.
The orange.
The orange. I'm also on Syracuse. Anyways, all right. You were not talking about Syracuse. All right. So here we go. We're going to go Duke versus NC State. I gave this out last night, you know, because we give our plays early to each other, so we know where we're at, and George can make that cute little graphic that he puts up. So I'm gonna honor it, but Duke makes me so nervous. But this NC State team gives up a lot of points, and they do give up a lot of yards through the air. I don't know how much I trust this Duke offense, but one thing I do know is that I can trust a Duke defense. Duke's defense, you know, obviously, what they get was it last week where they got absolutely blown out, and NC State blew out.
Close. Duke, I thought Duke was going to beat Miami last week, like low key.
I mean, it was 53-31. The good thing was that they, yeah, but the good thing was that they showed some fight on offense, right? That they were able to score, which they did not prove the week prior, right? They had gotten down there and they had missed field goals and just couldn't find the end zone. But they're up against an NC State team that does give up points, does give up yards through the air, and I trust a Manny Diaz team. They're already bowl eligible this year. I'm going to take Duke plus 3.5. Of course, it makes me nervous, right? You block me on bankroll. I don't know what bankroll. Anyways, yeah. So we're gonna go Duke plus 3.5. I do have them circled here to also sprinkle the money line. Just yes, I do like it, but yeah, I think it's a field goal game. But again, Duke is Duke. Sometimes they're Dukey, sometimes they're not. But we'll take them plus 3.5.
Yeah, I just don't know what to think about that quarterback. Came from Texas, so I mean, he's good enough to go to Texas. And there's some times where he looks really good.
That's what I'm saying.
There's one time. There's one time I took his yards and he didn't do anything.
Okay, I know you guys know what I'm talking about. When you guys are like thinking in your head how you think a game is going to play out, right? Joe, just you know what? Block that guy. He doesn't put that up. Look at this. Look at this absolute nonsense. Indiana going down today. Yeah, just like Ohio State's going to lose. You know, they're going to lose too. My point is that you guys look at a game and you're like, it's going to go this way. And what plays in your mind is the plays that looked good from this quarterback, right? And then you sit on it for about 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And then you're like, well, I don't know. And then you see every bad throw that this quarterback's made like flow through your head, right? Especially when you're doing player props in the NFL or NBA, you hesitate because you're like, well, you know, LaMelo Ball gets like 5 fouls in the first quarter, like every game.
All the time.
Like, should I not take this guy?
Right.
But yeah, so we're gonna go Duke plus 3.5. Give me the Blue Devils.
Yeah, it's called amnesia. Just like quarterback throws a pick, come out there and the next you got to forget about it. You know, like that guy screwed you, you know, or whatever.
Yeah,
forget about it. I know I said I was never gonna bet this team again, but here we are betting the Dodgers again.
Yep,
fucking Dodgers.
Yep.
All right, going with Minnesota minus line moved minus 6.5. Oh, I know why it moved actually. Let me see. Oh, I lost it. I'm gonna pull my Twitter back up here because I think I just seen a tweet about their Rutgers running back. I think is out. Yeah, Kyle Monangai, I think is how you say it. He is out. Been banged up. So that's why the line moved a little bit. So my graphic off to, you know, fix it, you know, on the fly here in a second. But Minnesota minus 6.5, which is fine, regardless of whether or not, whatever it is, I want under a touchdown. So I'm fine with 6.5. If we went to 7.5, don't like it. Don't take it. Or pull it down. Rutgers is broken. Rutgers is going to be without their starting running back, you know, here as well. In the first 4 games, they allowed 16 points per game on defense. They were fantastic. This was a Rutgers team that we knew about, that we expected, and they looked great. The last 4 games, they've allowed 33 points per game. I had a mention about the running back being banged up, but he is out. Minnesota is a few key he plays from having a much better record, if not maybe undefeated or maybe one loss. Minnesota's a lot better than what they've been doing. After starting 1-3, Minnesota started out 1-3. They're on a 4-game win streak where Rutgers started out really well. They're on a 0-4 losing streak. They lost to Wisconsin when Wisconsin got hot. They lost to UCLA when UCLA got hot. All of a sudden, UCLA is a pretty decent football team. It looks like beat Iowa last night. Iowa had a linebacker at quarterback though last night. So that's college football for you there. So even if Rutgers defense wakes up, I just don't think they have the offense to really just get it done here. Minnesota is a pretty good, methodical, balanced offense. They're not one-dimensional or anything like that. So I think Minnesota under a touchdown. Rutgers certainly not a scary place to play. And I know that some of you, if you're in Jersey there, you can't bet it. Hey, you just got to move on, unfortunately. But I like Minnesota -6.5. Another road team, but a favorite this time, -6.5.
Look, I like it. I like it. Rutgers has been disappointing, but let me tell you something. I can't bet on Minnesota, and that is simply because of the way the guy dresses. PJ Fleck with the tie. It's frustrating. I don't like watching the games. He looks uncomfortable. He looks really it's just like not my thing. So, but I like the play because of Rutgers. I just don't like having PJ Fleck on my TV where they show the guy with the vest and the golden tie, 30 times a game. But this would not be a Saturday of mine. There's a few things that are guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and me to bet on military academy games and a Kansas over. All right. Those three are all guarantees in life. So I'm about to give you another guaranteed thing that you can count on every Saturday. That would be Iowa State versus Kansas. At the time that I put this out, it was over 51.5. Not sure if that even in this morning, that's where it was. I don't know where it's at exactly right now. It doesn't matter. Kansas is averaging 31 points per game on offense. But they give up 29 points per game. They're not that great defensively, and every single week they're in some form of a shootout. And what it looks like early on, they were getting in these shootouts, but the offense wasn't clicking yet with the new offensive coordinator. Now it finally looks like the offense is clicking. You got, Neal looking really good on the ground. You got Daniels looking good. I just think that this offense is now fully opened up. Iowa State is going to have a very difficult time now that this offense has finally started to move. And the defense for Iowa State the last 2 weeks has not looked good against teams on the ground. So now you mix in a Neal who can run just natural, really good running back, and then you mix in a dual threat quarterback. It's a lot to think about for a defense that has not looked too good against the rush the last 2 weeks. So give me the over, 51.5, Kansas, Iowa State. Overs club members only. Make sure you get your Bombers jackets, okay? That let you in at the door. We're taking the over. Give me points. Life's too short to bet the under. Remember that, people. Doing my Trump hands today,
Somebody said something about that earlier.
Yes, I mean, some say it could be the greatest over. I don't say that. Some say it, but it could be the greatest ever over they've ever seen. But
anyhow, you don't have a name there. You have emojis, but I'd probably lean over Texas State. I mean, just out of principle, they have a pretty good offense. That's without me.
What's that? Like sleepy bird dot? Sleeping bird dot?
Yeah. When leaning the over without that's not a game that was at all on my radar though.
I am a real American.
All right, let's see. Moving on to the next slate.
They said cue Hulk Hogan's theme music. I am a real American.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. I had quite a few people say, like, if you're not in here, make sure you're, in the Discord or whatever. There you go. Not in the core, need to be. Great November, so on and so forth. All right. Mask. Okay. Anyhow, my next play. This is we were just talking about it. This is a definition of, hey, I'm going back to it. Misery loves company, whatever, something like that. Ty, we have 50 live people on YouTube right now. That's a pretty high number compared to what we had before.
Wow.
Saturday mornings. Appreciate you guys. If you haven't liked the video, like it, subscribe, share it, tweet it, everything like that. But thanks for joining. I'm gonna go with Clemson minus 5.5. Let me actually pull up. Oh, I thought this line was moving. It's not. Clemson minus 5.5. I was on Clemson's money line, just a little parlay where I like to tie.
I'm here. I don't know what's going on. I'm here.
You're all right. You got time. Anyway, Clemson minus 5.5. It did this in the middle of the show like last time too, and then you're gonna complain about the picture the whole time.
I am, but we'll let it go. I'm good. I was getting texts in the middle of last week's show that you look fine. You're in color.
Yeah, exactly. Just because you can't see color.
Yeah, exactly.
Clemson minus 5.5. Clemson lost last week. Clemson didn't look very good last week. Clemson historically is pretty bad off a bye. So we got that loss out of the way. Whatever. The loss last week to Louisville does not look good on the college football resume. What is Clemson ranked right now? Clemson's ranked 19th right now. Clemson needs to come out and get some wins. We're at the point where we need, and we'll talk about it in a little bit. Some teams need style points, and that was a big thing when you had only 4 teams making the playoffs or whatever. And now you got 12, so you can afford a loss or whatever. But this loss against Louisville doesn't look that good. Clemson needs to come out and beat the holy hand grenade out of Virginia Tech here. They need to get back in a big way. Clemson's got the better defense. Clemson has a better quarterback. Clemson is realistically the better team. It's not time to freak out just because they lost last week. Okay, it's okay. They're on the road. You got Kyron Drones, who's a fairly mobile quarterback they're just calling it a lower body injury. Looking at my Twitter page here that tweet stuff about it, they had posted that he is a game time decision still. Yeah, he's going to be a game time decision, and then I think that's Basil is how you say it, or Basil. Basyshul Tootin. I think it's Basil. He's a game time decision as well. So starting quarterback, starting running back is that how you say it, Ty? Do you know?
I have no idea. I just don't even know how you would try, but fuck it.
Oh, I like to, because maybe it's right. And they're like, oh, good job. Anyway, you got starting quarterback and starting running back are both banged up. And if they do play, well, they're not there 100%. Your game time decision, normally you're not going to be 100%. So going with Clemson minus 5.5. And yeah, Louisville is not a bad team. However, they are not a ranked team, and it's a loss to them a win against them isn't really considered oh gosh, that was a really good win, but a loss to them in terms of whatever comes along with a bigger issue or whatever, if that makes sense. Let's see, we're almost parlay. I can answer this one later. Pop up, or I'll try to remember at the end. We always go through and hey, what games do you guys have questions about or whatever, so let us go ahead and hum along with
and sleepy bird dot. I got you. I'll talk about that at the end. But if you want to pull up Ryan Bendel's, thank you, Cactus. That's really nice of you, man. Love when I see stuff like that. But
I see it.
There we go. Is Army's QB back today? You mean the only worthy Heisman Trophy candidate out there? The guy that should be president of the United States? I mean, Daly? Bryson Daly? Yeah, he's back today. So you know what we're doing. We're taking Army minus 5.5. That's exactly what we're doing. All right. Army is all the way back. Navy. Army, sorry. Army is all the way back today. All right. Bryson Daly is back in the mix. Look, this is the better team. Against the spread, Army is 5-1-1. North Texas, they're 2-2 against the spread as a 3-point underdog. And it's Veterans Week. You must be out of your damn mind that I'm going to sit here as a former Marine and I'm going to go I'm not going to bet Army. Like I said, there's a few things guaranteed. I'm betting the service academies. I'm betting overs. There's only a few things in life that are guaranteed: death taxes, overs, and military academy teams. I think this game has potential to go over also, but it's going to be mostly because Army covers it. All right. Bryson Daly's going to run. He's going to throw. He's going to fly. He's going to score a lot of fucking points. Give me Army minus 5.5. Last night, I had it at money line, right? Because it was like minus 136. This morning, Jumps all the way up to -5.5 when it was at -2.5 yesterday, which means only one thing. Captain America is coming home. He's putting on shoulder pads. He's putting on his girdle. He's tying his shoes. And he's going to find the end zone. Go ahead, take the Army team total, too. I'm certainly going to. But Army's going to come out and whoop a bunch of ass today. Army -5.5. You're giving it to me under a touchdown. This team's going to win by at least 15. Oh, yeah, you're welcome. It was my pleasure.
15,
Army -5.5. You got to bring the energy. Got to bring the juice.
Yeah, it was super frustrating to see him get ruled out, as like there was a lot. I mean, a lot of us were on Army, and Army ended up, winning. But boy, did they not look good. It attests to his skill and what he brings to the table. And I was just looking at his Heisman odds, and they're plus 20,000, unfortunately. So
just sprinkle it.
Roll, but it certainly would prove that he is a Heisman worthy contender in the fact that like his team is not good without him, kind of thing. And that's what I kind of feel. Now
you could sprinkle it, because right now what we do have, if you've been following the show and if you're in the Discord, we've been on Hunter when he was like plus 3,500,
plus 185 right now.
We got him at 3,500. So if you want, go ahead, sprinkle my guy Bryson Daly, Captain America. Yeah, it's Army -5.5. That's what we're taking.
Okay, all right. Let's get this. Let's just move on. Let's get this Hoosier slander out of the way and say Indiana -14.5. All right,
ridiculous.
IU -14.5 is my play. Look, it's not because I live in the great state of Indiana that I know IU and Notre Dame to root for, but
that's so whack. That is such a Midwest thing to do.
No, Notre Dame through and through, of course.
Okay. I would never be like, oh, well, Pitt's kind of good too. I'll root for them. Whatever.
I don't own any IU clothes, that's for sure. I have an IU cup, and I don't know where it came
from.
Anyway, Michigan just got killed by Oregon, as we all expected. Am I saying that IU is as good as Oregon? Man, they could be, but right now, no. If IU played, or I don't know if IU will play Oregon or not, but
no, they just play Ohio State.
Yeah, IU's gonna win that game. Anyway,
and they will play them for the Big Ten championship.
Yeah. So, man, there's nothing this team can't do. Their defense is amazing. Michigan comes in this game, absolutely reeling. I mean, we're getting to the point where some of these teams, and specifically the next team I'm going to talk about, but you're to the point where, like, all right, we got to see what's going on with these freshmen, what's going on with these sophomores. We got to see what's going on. We got to see what kind of talent we have. We need to play some guys that aren't starters. It's that time of the year. Throw the season away. We got to figure out what we got when we're recruiting and everything like that. Michigan season's over. They can't throw the ball. They certainly can't throw the ball. They can't run the ball very effectively, especially against the IU defense that has a fantastic pass defense. They have a very good rush defense as well. Michigan may, and I said this the other day, and I was completely wrong, but I mean, Michigan might not score more than a touchdown. Michigan might not score 10 points. Michigan can't throw, like I said. Let's see. They're likely going to be also without both their starting corners. So Curtis Rourke throwing the ball all over the field kind of thing. IU has just been ridiculous. You know, when they played Michigan State last week, Michigan State came out and went up 10-0. IU dropped 47 unanswered points on them after that. Kurt Cignetti's defense is, I mean, they get better as the time goes on. If you look at stats, there's a clip where reporters reading it off, and they're like, did you know that, you know, and from between the first, second, third, and fourth, your defense gives up less yards as the time goes on? And he smiles like, yeah, my defense gets stronger as the game goes on. That's not supposed to happen. They're the complete package. This is a spot where I would probably take Indiana at minus 21.5. If we're talking alt lines, like Ty's talking on, on Army. If IU loses this game, it would be an absolute upset. IU wins this game by at least, it feels like 3 touchdowns, in my opinion. IU minus 14.5. If you're playing a parlay or putting something together, definitely pull that to 13.5. Silly to add 14.5 if you're playing at multiple legs, but if you're going to play it straight up, of course, play the 14.5. As the 13.5 is probably going to be pretty juiced, but I feel okay about that hook because they are the.
So let me give you. I was just watching Joe Klatt the other day, and he did a comparison between the 2023 Georgia Bulldogs through the 9 games, or 10 games, 9 games, and he did the same comparison to this year's Indiana team. Indiana started off unranked. Obviously, Georgia did last year. They looked at strength of schedule. Indiana's has a harder schedule than Georgia did last year by like 10 rankings, right? So it was like 123 to 130 or something like that, okay? And then they looked at the point differential. Okay? They were beating teams Georgia was last year by a difference of 13.2 points per game. Okay? So their schedule was easier than Indiana's is this year, and they were beating teams by only 13 points per game. Indiana is beating these teams by 23, and they're still only ranked 8th. What that comes down to is the fact that, well, it's Indiana football. Like, can we really trust them? Trust Kurt Cignetti. Trust Kurt Cignetti. I think that this is shaping up to be one of the wildest games you will see between Ohio State and Indiana. I know some people are like, you're crazy if you think OSU is losing that game. Look, I watched OSU up front and personal last week. I was in front row. I wasn't that impressed, just being honest. Chip Kelly's obviously scary with those athletes, but Indiana is one of the most complete teams, and they win from first whistle to the last whistle. That's he's got those boys playing different. So just my 2 cents, but it's interesting to see where the Georgia Bulldogs were last year compared to Indiana this year, and Indiana's just blowing all the teams out the water. So let's move on. My final game. Every week, something happens where the week before we lost, and then I come back to collect. We will always come back to collect. Okay? So today, guess who owes us money? Penn State owes me money, lots of money. All right? I bought front row tickets. I sold my tickets, and I bought front row tickets because I was like, we're going to win. Have to win. No shot we lose. We get that pick 6. I'm like, holy shit, this is going to happen. Best money I ever spent. Quickly, within like about 20 minutes later, I realized this is not going to happen for me. Dreams shattered, hours wasted, sitting in traffic, absolute waste of time. So Penn State owes me a little bit of money today. I'm coming collect. Washington's not a good football team. Penn State could have won that game last week. In my opinion. And they fucked up. I don't think they'll be fucking up this week. I don't even know if I can say that. I don't even know if I can say the F word on here. Okay. Sorry, YouTube. But Penn State owes me money. I'm taking Penn State minus 13.5. They could have beat a really good Ohio State team, and Ohio State's offense is fantastic. The athletes they have, their ability to get open, like they're running guys across the field. You're like, where the hell is a defender? Who knows? Chip Kelly's just a scientist with his offense, X's and O's. He's insane. So Washington's not good. Their defense is atrocious. This should be a game that Penn State puts up 40. And their defense, who kept them really in the game last week because the offense couldn't score. They only got field goals. The only touchdown that Penn State had was on that pick 6. I think that's disgusting. Today, it turns around. Penn State minus 13.5. They owe me money. This is not a bandwagon ride either. This is a they owe me money ride. And I'm coming to collect. I'm knocking on the door. Hello, your bills due. Pay up.
There you go.
Okay. I need more energy from you. They owe me money.
Hey, I'm gonna take on the money line and a potential leg of a certain 10K challenge. So I agree. I like them a lot. But I do certainly agree though. Like, yeah, like that pick 6 happened, and I was like, man, I was so excited for Ty. And then it's like, oh gosh, is that going to be the only touchdown they score? Like they hit a wall offensively, and then yeah, I mean, Ohio State just kind of and I mean they, like I said, like that fumble touchback, was crazy. but then they got it back by throwing that pick at the end of the half. I mean, that certainly hurt as well. Both fluke things though. So I mean, they traded turnovers, essentially would have traded touchdowns at that point. If you played the game again, it probably goes a different direction, but you only get to do it one time, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know, George. Thanks.
Anyway, let's talk about my team. Time to talk about Notre Dame. Here's my notes. All right. First off, Notre Dame team total over 33.5 is where we're going. Let me actually double check that's still where we're at, because I did see it was kind of moving. It's up to 34.5. Fine. I don't care. As long as it's under 35, that's fine. I wrote down FSU is bad. I wrote down Notre Dame is good. And I think that's all you have to say for the most part. Notre Dame's hot. Notre Dame scored, 51, 31, 49 in their last 3 games. There's Rudy playing. That's my favorite movie. Anyway, they're ranked number 10. They can't afford to, not continue to put up these big numbers. They don't want to get nudged out of the playoffs. Certainly they can't afford a loss. That's absolutely not going to happen against this Florida State team that is to the point where Florida State's going to be testing out these players. Florida State's going to be putting in guys that don't usually play. Florida State's giving up 35 and 36 in their last 2 games. Notre Dame is a good football team. Defensive touchdowns, possibilities. Jeremiah Love is a very good running back, and he gets to the point where, similar to Army, Army doesn't intentionally blow these teams out. Army doesn't intentionally hang 50 spots on teams or whatever it is. When you're up, you run the ball, and if you're doing it successfully and you're breaking runs, I mean, that's just what's going to happen. Riley Leonard's playing really well, mobile quarterback. Notre Dame's got to continue to keep scoring. Notre Dame's at home. I don't know if they've worn their green jerseys yet. That could be today. I haven't seen anything though. Normally those games normally go bad, to be honest. But anyway, though, yes, watching IU at 3:30 or whatever, turning around watching Notre Dame at 7. It's a great day for Indiana football. But Notre Dame 5 touchdowns, 34.5. Like I said, another spot where they could use to run up the score just in terms of positioning in the college football playoffs. And Florida State is certainly a team that I think is going to allow them to run that score up. Over 34.5 team total. I got to change that on the sheet.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to be a handicapper, George said, his notes were simple. Notre Dame good, Florida State bad. It's that simple. That's just what it comes down to.
There are times where
it comes down to. So Jordan will be wearing red at 3, and he'll be wearing gold and blue later on that night. A split household on purpose by one individual. Very weird thing. But you know what? Hey, we aren't going to hold you to anything. But let's get into the dogs are barking. They're in the backyard. They're circling the fence. There's people walking by. You're like, who the hell is here? Just a couple dogs barking, and we're going to collect. All right. I'm going Duke money line. I know. I was just like, I don't know. I'm up. Fuck it. We're going Duke money line. Next, we're going Syracuse money line. Give me the Orange Men. Nothing like the Orange Men when they're a dog. I love taking them in this spot. The bigger the over the last 2 years, in my opinion, the bigger the number, the more comfortable I felt taking them. That's crazy to say, but they just play really, especially if they're at home. They play really, really good as dogs. Next, I don't know if you guys remember a few weeks ago. What did I tell you? After Vanderbilt beat Alabama, I was on the show. You can pull it because this is all saved on YouTube. I said in 2 weeks' time, I would not be surprised if Vanderbilt beats Texas. You're like, yeah, right. Everyone was shitting on me in the chat. Vanderbilt almost beat Texas. So we're taking Vanderbilt money line today. Okay. Then we're going to take UCF money line. The only thing that kind of stinks is a lot of these guys are road dogs, but that doesn't matter. UCF money line. And then we're going to go down to operator, won't you put me on? We're going to LSU. You don't come down to Death Valley in the middle of the night and expect to walk out of there with a suitcase and a W. You're leaving out of there bruised, battered, and beaten with an L. Give me LSU money line. I feel amped. I like these 10 a.m. shows. I have a coffee in me. I feel fantastic. Look, no free shout outs, but this is like delicious vanilla milk in a glass bottle, and it's so good. I feel fantastic.
Free shout outs. All right. Now's the time. I normally actually say it earlier. Now's the time if you guys have particular questions. Parlay Demon. I think you had some. Go ahead and ask those particular questions about those games.
There was one up there about I think was it Texas State, ULM. Yeah. So I don't like the number that it's at. I think it's at 8, right? I would personally, of course, move that down. Now they are playing on the road. So if you can, what I would do is I would put them in a 2-leg parlay with like another money line person. A money line team, not person. Stupid thing to say. And I would do a little builder, and then I take it to 6.5. But I do like the over in that game. That's a game I really like the over in. So I would take the over. And so what you could do is you could take their money line and then buy the points down a little bit, and then you got a little 2-leg, builder there within one game. James Madison.
I like James Madison. I definitely
agree.
Like him. I like him. Georgia State has lost like a lot in a row. I forget the number. I like I said, like this is I've been looking at them just for the money line, just as a leg for the 10K challenge. So I don't fully remember, but yeah, they've lost a lot in a row. They're giving up a lot of points, and JMU, I mean, is just tough. And obviously, you have a lot of home teams right now, and you're looking at a lot of these teams likely being in like a homecoming type situation. I'm not going to specifically go through and Google all that stuff, but I mean, you get a lot of home teams right now. We're getting in that time frame where like it's the big game, or your senior night, not quite senior nights, but homecoming type stuff, so just extra emotions in it. So these home teams are going to be a little more alive, or a little more deadly, I guess, if that makes sense.
Okay, next. Okay, so I can't even lie to you guys. The Georgia Ole Miss, those are two teams I have not watched all year. Sometimes what happens is you get through, this part in the season, and just the way that you gamble and the way that you bet, I have 3 TVs here with YouTube TV at my office, so I'm able to watch as many games as I can. But just the way that it's kind of rolled is I have not bet on Ole Miss or Georgia at all this year. So it's not a game that I'm like putting on. So I can't even look. Georgia's a good team. We know that, but there is something. I just don't really like Carson Beck. I don't think he's that great. Ole Miss, though, yeah. But Ole Miss goes and they beat up on these really shitty teams early on in the year, and then they face their first little bit of competition. They drop the ball immediately. So I don't have a feel. Yeah, I don't have a feel for either of those teams right there. So I can't even. I don't know. Look, I guess I would take the under. I don't even know what the number is, but I feel like I said this before. SEC games I feel are like NFL games. So I do actually I do have a personal play on that one that you have up. But above that was, do you have anything on Texas Tech, Colorado?
Over, probably.
That's where I'm. Yeah. So I'm on the over.
Just the nature of the teams.
Yes.
Colorado doesn't stop passing. They're up 10 with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I fucking hate it, but they keep passing and throwing it deep. So, you got a good chance of getting your points in the fourth quarter if you need some.
So, Zach, here's what I would do. All right. If this was me, I believe, what is the number at 3.5? It might have come down. Could be at 3.5 or 4.5. I'm not sure. I would take the spread for to get your unit back, right? And then I would just sprinkle 0.25 on the money line, and then I'd also take the over, right? I think it'll be a field goal game one way or the other. There's going to be a lot of points, so you get a good shot for it to be 4 or 3, which are, football numbers here. So I'd take it 4.5, and then I would, take their money line. And Adam Gibson, which is the next one below that. Nope, the Ohio State game. So I have an opinion on this. Do you?
I would have gone not the full game team total, because it's one of those. Is the other team going to really put up points?
Okay, so
an under because of that.
Yeah. So one thing I do is I take little personal plays just to so I watch the game. That's the way that I can really get a feel for teams when we get into this time of the year. So I took their team total over. It's over 44.5. It's minus 125 or minus 135, I believe. Paid a little bit of juice, but the way I saw them play last week, they played against a really great defense, and there was multiple times that they should have scored. Like they could have had like 34, 35 on Penn State. You have that fumble that goes into the touchback, and then you have there was another one where there was like two dudes that were like wide open running down the sideline, and he just overthrew them. So I took their team total over. They're playing a really, really bad Purdue team at Ohio State. I'm taking anything below 45. I'm taking that. I would take that up to 47.5. That's right. I feel comfortable taking it. Go ahead, Jort. You got these next ones.
Hey, betting on Tennessee. I refuse to do it. They're like the worst football team. They're the worst football. They're the worst good football team out there. Can't stand them. Isaiah Bond, honestly, like I there's just so many player props. Like I really just can't. I can't do it. Like you almost have to be you almost need a guy completely dedicated to just doing player props in college football, because I mean there's 80 games on today. That's like at least 6 major receivers per game plus times 80, not to mention the running backs and 160 quarterbacks. I mean, that's a lot of action. Boise State, Ty, that's normally your team. I haven't been on Boise State once.
I think if you're going to do they're playing Nevada. Look, Nevada let Hawaii do really whatever they wanted to them. I think they will have a tough time with Boise State today. This wasn't a game that I looked at, so I'm trying to. What's the number there? Just trying to. I'm trying to
total,
get DraftKings on my phone.
I can get it. I'm on it right now. Give me a second.
Okay, what is it?
Probably like 40 something. I bet 42.5 at plus money.
Buy it down to 41.5, and you'll be good.
Which won't be too much juice because it's plus.
Yep. You can even buy it down to 40.5 if you want, since 41 and 42 are both 40 football numbers.
Ole Miss first half, LSU first half. Jalen Milroe's like a little banged up, so you just don't know how he's going to perform there. I don't know. That normally I'm all about LSU, and it like gives me pause today. So like I just got some parlays, and then like I'm about to have breakfast and like try to mow some of the grass until I can I start limping again or whatever. So not gonna have a whole lot of straight plays out myself in the Discord. There's a boost on that I would maybe play, but it's just there's nothing that makes me say like I need to bet this.
Yeah, I would just take LSU money line. You don't want to lose on our first half. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about y'all can still pull some stuff in here, but Jody, so we talked about, I don't know, there's really 80 games. There's normally a lot of games. These would be our 5 favorite, but Ty's going to have a lot more than that in the Discord. I normally would, but like I said, today's a little bit of a light half. I got a baby coming in less than 2 weeks. Nothing done. Got to get some stuff done, kind of thing. These are my 5 favorite on the board. These are Ty's 5 favorite. So anyhow, my 5 favorite, Syracuse went up to 2.5. I'm cool with that. Might as well, acknowledge it though. The beginning of the show was at 1.5. So Syracuse plus 2.5, Minnesota minus 6.5, Clemson minus 5.5, Indiana minus 14.5, and Notre Dame team total over 34.5 are my 5. Ty, do you want to do yours?
Yes, we're going Navy team total over 39. Yeah. Look, Jody, my 3 favorites are going to be the Navy team total, Army minus 5.5, and Iowa State versus Kansas over 51.5. Take that with a grain of salt. I like all 5 equally. The Penn State one, obviously they owe me money, so I'm coming to collect. And Duke, they look good one week and don't look good the other. But I like the spot here today. But the Navy, Army, those are 3 things you can count on: Academy games and an over. All right, so I'm on Navy team total over 30.5. I'm Duke plus 3.5. Iowa State versus Kansas over 51.5. Penn State minus 12.5. Army minus 5.5. And then the dogs are circling. They're barking out in the yard. We left them out all week long. We got Duke money line, Cuse money line, Vandy money line, UCF, and baby, why don't you put me on through down the Baton Rouge LSU money line. Go Tigers.
I asked this exact same question to Ty earlier because I have, during the show, been refreshing and trying to see if Haynes King is playing or not. And then Ty brought up the whole, like, kind of amnesia. You can't always go back to, whatever. Ty, what'd you say? How do you feel about Miami today?
Yeah, so what usually happens is we'll remember like their most recent or their best game that we've seen them play this year, right? So he's had like 2 fantastic games where he's looked awesome. So when you're like, oh, do I bet Miami? Like, is he back? Is he going to be that big of an X factor? Sure, he's going to obviously affect the way the game is gone. But let's not forget what Miami has done week in, week out, and it's a full team effort. So I would not. Sure, could it matter in the first half? Of course, I would definitely take it to plus 7.5. We saw Miami look pretty sleepy last week, but in my opinion, that was because they were kind of sleeping on them, sleeping on Duke, not giving them any respect. They woke up. As long as they don't come out like they did last week against Duke, Miami could roll early on. So,
yeah, Miami absolutely should win the game and dominate. They have really the keys to do it. They just got to come out and not spot them, points. Like the Celtics, who gave, up a 16-2 run to the Nets last night and had to win in overtime. Crazy. Crazy. All right, we'll give you just a bit. You guys got anything else before we got about an hour? I'm sure Ty's got a lot to do here. I do too. I got some stuff. Got to get plays posted to Discord for those that are members in the Discord. Like I said, shout out trophies in the description of the YouTube channel here. You got a link for the 2 week. You got a link for a month if you're interested in testing it out and saving yourself 25%. All caps JORT gets you a little bit of a discount on there if you want to try it out. And that's where those plays are about to be posted that we need to be getting to. Everybody cares about Tennessee. I wouldn't bet against Tennessee, but the 24 or something, I'm just not interested in it. I don't, every time Tennessee just looks bad all the time. So
look, if you want to bet Tennessee and you love Tennessee, do me a favor, reach out to my guy Chief Wahoo, and he will say take Tennessee minus the points.
Yeah, every time.
All right, he will give you the answer you're looking for. I don't watch Tennessee. They're frustrating to me. It is what it is. There's a lot of Tennessee fans in the Discord. Adam's out here. This is just okay. We're ending the show on that, Adam.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and get out of here. Yeah, I'm gonna probably pull the trigger here in a second and get that. We'll do 10K step 4 today with some college football. And
do not forget, we are circling the block on Penn State. We're spinning around back on them. They owe us money. We're getting it back.
Coming to collect. Appreciate you guys. I'm gonna close it out. Show you guys the intro again. Listen to that Friday night light music, and we will see you guys back next week. See you later.